Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa. Vote counting is underway in Uganda after a chaotic election day that saw millions of voters cast their ballots, many of them hours later than planned. Polling stations opened up to 4 hours late due to logistical problems. Biometric identification systems failed in multiple polling stations, forcing officials to use manual registers. This after the government imposed an internet shutdown. Opposition leader Robert Kyagulanyi, known as Bobi Wine, is alleging widespread irregularities and arrests of his agents. Electoral Commission Chairman Simon Byabakama says official results should be announced by Saturday, determining whether President Yoweri Museveni extends his 4-decade hold onto power or whether opposition can turn strong support in the capital into national victory. Ugandans were electing a president from a field of 8 candidates as well as members of parliament across the country's constituencies. But it's the presidential poll that has everyone on the edge of their seats.
Vote counting is firmly underway under the watchful eyes of party agents and electoral officials. Electoral Commission Chief Simon Byabakama has promised results by Saturday the 17th, but the process that led to the moment has left many Ugandans questioning what they witnessed on voting day. Across the country, some voters arrived at polling stations at 7 a.m. only to find electoral officials were not ready with electoral materials.
Yeah, actually, I came here around 7:30 a.m. because they told us by 7 the election will be starting. But we are here still standing, waiting for the machines. They're telling us machines are not yet here. So we are just waiting. And we are hoping we vote in time.
Aside from electoral materials arriving later than the voters, a good number of polling stations had to resort to using the manual National Voters Register after the biometric identification kits failed. Even after months of practice before the election day and millions of dollars spent in acquisitions, even the incumbent experienced the glitches in the system firsthand.
I put my right chinkumu. That's what they call sampling. The machine did not accept it. I put my left, it did not accept it. Why? It could be that when we took them, we used a different angle. When you put an angle to me. But the real decisive factor was the face.
Creating awareness before people go to polls is very important. But like we are here, they have not sensitized the people, and everyone doesn't know what to do.
Main opposition leader and presidential candidate Bobi Wine also claims that there were widespread irregularities and arrests of his agents. However, he remained confident.
We are confident that we are winning this election, but also know that the military and all security agencies are up to help the incumbent to rig the election, which we encourage the people of Uganda to resist.
Despite a violent campaign period, voting day seemed calm across the country, with the government deploying heavy security in major towns and cities, especially the capital, Kampala.
We still have a very big challenge as a nation when it comes to the politics of transition. And I think that's the most important thing currently. So if we want to open a new chapter for this country, all sides of the political divide have got to agree that we need to sit, discuss soberly how we want to see Uganda in the next so many years.
As counting continues for the next 48 hours, all eyes turn to the regions that could decide this presidential election. Central Uganda holds the key. With over 6 million registered voters, nearly a third of the national total, it's where elections are won or lost. Kampala alone has 3.7 million on the register, and in 2021, opposition leader Bobi Wine dominated here, winning 3 out of every 4 votes in the capital. Of the 3.6 million votes Bobi Wine received nationwide last time, more than half came from the central region. The western region, President Museveni's home region with 5.5 registered voters, has been the incumbent's fortress since he came into power in 1986. Infrastructure projects, airports, universities, and the promise of oil wealth in Hoima have reinforced his support. The eastern region is somewhat a wild card with more than 4 million registered voters. The population is young and increasingly urban. It swung towards the opposition in 2021. Northern Uganda with 3 million registered voters was once an opposition stronghold. However, the region that is recovering from decades of conflict seems to warm up to the ruling party, though Bobi Wine enjoys support from places like Lango and West Nile. Ugandans were electing a president from a field of 8 candidates, as well as members of parliament across the country's constituencies. With the internet shut down, the world is watching to see who will emerge the winners of this election. But in a country where trust in institutions is already fragile, will Ugandans accept the results as legitimate? Catherine Omwando, NTV.